What happens when a Senate confirmation hearing explodes into accusations of lies about military service? The gloves came off when Attorney General Pam Bondi faced Senator Richard Blumenthal in what became one of the most explosive exchanges in recent Senate history. During Attorney General Pam Bondi's recent testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee, what started as routine questioning about mergers and potential conflicts of interest quickly escalated into a personal confrontation that stunned observers. Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut was pressing Bondi about her connections to lobbyist Brian Ballard and the American Express GBT merger case. The Democrat senator questioned whether Bondi had improper conversations with Ballard about getting the Justice Department to drop a lawsuit. But Blumenthal's line of questioning would backfire spectacularly, leading to one of the most dramatic moments in recent Senate confirmation hearing history. The exchange began routinely enough, with Blumenthal asking about the merger between American Express and GBT. He specifically wanted to know about Bondi's conversations with Brian Ballard, described as a longtime backer and head of the law firm where Bondi previously worked. Blumenthal alleged that Ballard was instrumental in lobbying the Justice Department to drop the lawsuit related to this merger. The senator pressed for details about any conversations between Bondi and Ballard, clearly implying potential impropriety. This line of questioning set the stage for what would become an extraordinary confrontation as Bondi prepared to defend not just her actions, but her entire professional integrity as a career prosecutor. What happened next caught everyone off guard. Instead of giving a standard deflection or diplomatic response typical of confirmation hearings, Bondi launched into a fierce counterattack that left the committee room stunned. She directly challenged Blumenthal's moral authority to question her integrity, bringing up his own controversial past regarding military service claims. The usually controlled atmosphere of a Senate hearing suddenly became charged with personal animosity and accusations. Bondi's response was not just a defense of her actions, but a calculated offensive move that would shift the entire dynamic of the hearing. The moment demonstrated how quickly political theater can turn intensely personal. Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service, Bondi declared with unmistakable force. Her words cut through the formal atmosphere like a knife. She continued, "You lied. You admitted you lied to be elected a U.S. senator. You lied about how dare you." This wasn't typical confirmation hearing discourse. This was a direct, personal attack on a sitting senator's character and integrity. Bondi was referencing the well-documented controversies surrounding Blumenthal's past statements about his military service during the Vietnam War era when he had made claims about serving in Vietnam rather than clarifying he served stateside during that period. The military service controversy that Bondi referenced has been a recurring issue for Senator Blumenthal throughout his political career. During his 2010 Senate campaign, it was revealed that Blumenthal had made multiple statements suggesting he served in Vietnam, when he actually served in the Marine Corps Reserve in Washington, D.C. during the Vietnam War. He obtained multiple deferments before joining the reserves, never serving overseas. At the time, Blumenthal admitted to misstating his service record on several occasions, calling them unintentional errors. However, critics argued these weren't simple mistakes, but deliberate misrepresentations designed to enhance his political profile by suggesting combat experience he never had. Bondi wasn't finished with her counterattack. "I'm a career prosecutor. Don't you ever challenge my integrity." She continued with visible anger and conviction. The force of her response demonstrated that she viewed Blumenthal's questions not as legitimate oversight, but as character assassination. She emphasized her professional background as a prosecutor, suggesting that her entire career had been built on principles of justice and integrity. This wasn't just about defending against specific allegations about the merger case. Bondi was defending her entire professional reputation. Her use of "don't you ever" showed this was deeply personal, not just political theater. "I have abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General," Bondi concluded her explosive response. She was drawing a clear line between her professional conduct and what she saw as Blumenthal's personal hypocrisy. By invoking ethics standards, she was suggesting that unlike Blumenthal's military service claims, her conduct had always been above reproach. The phrase, "do not question," was delivered as a command, not a request, showing Bondi was taking complete control of the narrative. This moment represented a role reversal. Instead of being on the defensive answering questions, she had put the senator himself on trial for his past conduct. The confrontation revealed deeper tensions about political accountability and moral authority in Washington. When politicians question each other's integrity, they open themselves to scrutiny of their own records. Blumenthal's aggressive questioning about potential impropriety backfired because it gave Bondi an opening to attack his credibility on moral grounds. This exchange demonstrated how confirmation hearings can become battlegrounds not just over policy positions, but over personal character and past actions. The military service issue was particularly potent because it goes to the heart of honesty and service to country, values that resonate strongly with both senators and the American public. The broader context of this exchange involves ongoing debates about the weaponization of the justice system. Earlier in the hearing, Blumenthal had accused the Trump administration of weaponizing justice by targeting political opponents based on the president's personal animosity. He referenced Trump's public statements calling for investigations of various individuals, including former FBI Director James Comey. Blumenthal argued that Trump's transparent instructions to investigate specific people represented a dangerous precedent. However, this line of attack may have backfired when it led to Bondi's devastating personal counterattack about his military service record. The dynamics of Senate confirmation hearings have evolved significantly in recent years, becoming more contentious and politically charged. What was once largely ceremonial rubber stamping has become intense political theater, where nominees face aggressive questioning designed to score political points. Both parties use these hearings to advance broader narratives about their opponents. In this case, Democrats were trying to paint Bondi as potentially corrupt or compromised, while Republicans likely saw Blumenthal's military service controversy as fair game for counterattack. The personal nature of Bondi's response suggests these hearings have moved beyond policy disagreements into character warfare. Bondi's strategy of going on offense rather than defense reflects a broader trend in Republican political tactics under Trump's influence. Rather than apologizing or deflecting when attacked, the approach has been to immediately counterattack opponents on their own vulnerabilities. This strategy can be highly effective when the attacker has their own credibility issues, as Blumenthal did with his military service controversy. By shifting focus from her own alleged improprieties to Blumenthal's past misstatements, Bondi changed the subject and put Democrats on the defensive. This tactical approach has become increasingly common in high-stakes political confrontations. The immediate aftermath of this exchange likely left committee Democrats reconsidering their approach. When your attack backfires and becomes a liability, it can undermine your entire line of questioning. Other Democratic senators probably had to adjust their strategies, knowing that aggressive personal attacks might invite similar counterattacks on their own records. This dynamic can change the entire tenor of a confirmation hearing, making senators more cautious about how far they push nominees. The exchange demonstrated that nominees are no longer expected to simply endure attacks. They can and will fight back aggressively when they feel their integrity is unfairly questioned. For viewers watching this exchange, it represented a rare moment of authentic emotion and conflict in what are often scripted political proceedings. The genuine anger and conviction in Bondi's voice, combined with the obvious tension in the room, made for compelling television that cuts through typical political theater. These moments matter because they reveal character under pressure and show how people respond when their core identity and integrity are challenged. Whether you agreed with Bondi's tactics or not, her response was undeniably authentic and forceful. The long-term implications of this confrontation extend beyond just this confirmation hearing. It establishes precedent for how future nominees might respond to aggressive questioning, potentially making confirmation hearings even more combative. It also reinforces the importance of senators maintaining clean records if they want moral authority to challenge nominees on ethics grounds. Blumenthal's military service controversy, even though it occurred over a decade ago, continues to undermine his credibility when questioning others about truthfulness and integrity. This exchange will likely be studied as an example of how quickly political dynamics can shift when personal credibility becomes the central issue. What makes this confrontation particularly significant is how it encapsulates broader themes about truth, service, and accountability in American politics. Both participants claimed the moral high ground. Blumenthal positioning himself as defending against corruption, Bondi defending her integrity as a career prosecutor. The military service angle added another layer because it involves not just political honesty, but honesty about service to country during wartime. These are the kinds of fundamental questions about character and credibility that voters ultimately care about most. When democracy is under pressure, truth becomes the most important defense. Welcome to Constitutional Watch, where we analyze the most critical moments from Capitol Hill with the depth and context they deserve. From confirmation hearings to congressional investigations, we break down what happened, why it matters, and what it means for America's future. Subscribe for evidence-based analysis that cuts through the noise and gets to the truth.